Even very successful and compassionate clinicians may create the impression that women's bodies are objects to be monitored and regulated, not aspects of one's self. It is as if the doctors are saying that if those bodies of the women are treated with the right drugs and by the right people, they will produce what they are supposed to produce. I wonder whether clinicians themselves have difficulty in coming to terms with failure to achieve a pregnancy and their position in the situation, especially when it is so infused with compassion for the infertile. Rising infertility has been attributed to women marrying much later, having pursued careers and contraception until they are 40. A very topical topic if you've seen the film Sex and the City, or He's Just Not That Into You, and so on. To reduce infertility significantly may mean pointing out that women should find partners and commence childbearing at an earlier age, adjusting careers proportionately. It might also involve a widespread campaign against the behaviour that gives rise to sexually transmitted diseases, such as chlamydia, that destroy fertility. These restrictive messages are not necessarily welcomed by women. I've lectured to women's audiences about this, and they don't like it at all. There are also aspects of reproductive medicine that bolster the position of women. Only women can give the gift of parenthood to men. So far, though in an earlier lecture I did describe what's coming up over the horizon in 20 years or so, the little plastic box into which you will put your embryo and leave it there for 9 months and come back and collect it when it's ready. Men have little choice in the matter, no matter how willing they are to offer commitment and good parenthood. If they can't persuade a woman to carry their baby, they can't have one. If parenthood can begin in the laboratory or with genetic material provided by third parties, a woman's role in parenting becomes more distant, more like a man's, merely the provision of the gamete, the egg. It will be even more so if birth in an incubator, as I've just mentioned, without a womb, ever becomes possible. If that were the case, there would be no reason for women to have the dominant role in reproductive choices as they do now, and men will have to have an equal voice. The moderating influence in this scenario of potential conflict between the two sexes is statutory regulation. It requires that doctors and scientists inform patients and subjects and then abide by the choices that these people have made. Feminists should certainly be opposing the unregulated application of new and possibly risky techniques to women and the unregulated sale of eggs, as in the USA. Women should stand up for the ethical principle of autonomy, which I discussed in an earlier lecture. The message I wish to give and reflect on this evening in our examination of reproductive science is that every woman, like every man, is worthwhile as her own person, without having to be a mother. No childless woman should ever be made to feel that she can only be perfected and given a role in life by being subjected to every reproductive technique that can be provided at limitless expense and stress. There has to come a time when a caring doctor should consider, with the infertile woman, what her future is if the treatment does not succeed. No doctor should hold her up as a trophy when the treatment succeeds against all the odds, nor should he depict inability or unwillingness to treat her as a failure. Children are a blessing, and I have no wish to deny the enormous meaning and joy given to life by them, nor would I wish to be thought of as unfeeling towards those who suffer from infertility. Nevertheless, I wonder whether society takes sufficient account of the possibility that women's lives might be considered just as worthwhile and purposive without children as with children. I'm concerned that reproductive medicine should not be pushed so far that men or women are made to feel incomplete unless they can and will reproduce. There are ethical, personal, and practical limits to treatment, and this is represented by the fact that in this country we regulate the practice under the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Acts. We must beware the dangers and disappointments of the unlimited pursuit of success in infertility treatment. We must ask whether the passionate desire to become a parent justifies the taking of risks to health on a scale that would not be acceptable if the issue were food safety or environmental preservation. Even basic IVF is not without peril, for the drugs may give rise to ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, which is potentially fatal.